Then today we'll be talking about the property. We are going to write it very soon. You are going to write it very soon. I mean, on the 19th, it's gonna be a big day for you. You're gonna be writing this property. So let's start with it from the what you have said in the beginning. I have said that the property law is based on the firstly, is based on the ownership, and servitude. That is the ownership and the servitude. Now, here on the property law, the main aim of this study guide is how the property so it's deal with the way the property can be transferred, from one person to another. So it doesn't deal with the material aspect of the contract. That's what I said. It doesn't deal with the material aspect of the contract. Number two, it deals with the how, it deals with the transfer of right. It deals with the transfer of right. Remember when you transfer the property, you also transfer the right. So I have said to you that, and I'm repeating, I said that there are four types of rights. We had that there are classes of rights when we're doing the LLB, right? When we're doing the LLB, we learn about the classes. Sorry. The classes of the rights. Now, what are those classes of the rights? We learn about the classes of the rights as I'm showing you. We have a real right, we have a personal right, we have a personality right, and we have a personality. We have a personal right, we have a personality right. Now we have a personal right, we have a personal right, we have a personality right. Now the personal right, they've been written two times because I think that because some of them they call it creditors right. Now we have a four. I think that they've made mistake here. They want to say that the intellectual. I think that there was a mistake. They should have said intellectual. So let me just move to those rights. Yes, you do remember when we talk about the four classes of the rights. This one, I wanted this page where we have the real rights, personality rights, intellectual property or immaterial property rights, personal rights, personality rights and personal rights. Now, they started with the real rights and they give example. What is the real rights? Rights to physical material things that we can touch, the rights of ownership, rights of pledge, and rights of servitude. Those are falling under the real rights. Rights of ownership, rights of pledge, and rights of servitude. Now, those all are falling under real right. Now, they describe even at the ownership here. We go to the pledge, they talk about the servitude, and then they give the personality rights, which is the rights to physical integrity. Now, we have intellectual property rights, which has to do with material property rights. So, number last, we have a personal rights. So those are the four classes of rights that arise in the law. Now, when we deal with property law, we don't deal with all the rights. In the property law, we deal with the only two rights. Here we deal with the real right and personal right. Right? Real right and personal right. Now, these are real right, these are personal right. Here on a property, the real right is the right of ownership. Whatever that you have ownership of with, it means that you have a real right. This one is more of a creditor right. So it's a right which arises out of the agreement with the creditors. So whenever you agree with the creditors, there will be a right. It's a right that gives the obligations. So mostly it's the right that will arise of agreement between you and between the debtor and creditor. This type of right, between the tenant and the landlord. Those debit. Now, after knowing this right and this personal right, remember what that book said. It says that we have other rights, those rights that we know that are given like a pledge. We have a pledge. We have a servitude. We have mortgage. We have like yeah, we have a pledge, servitude, we have mortgage. This one. Now, this one all, instead of saying that they are real right, remember, this one are real right because when you have a right to pledge, you have a real right. Now, instead in the property to say real right, we call them limited real right. So if you have something that has been pledged as security for the debt, you have a limited real right. Servitude will give you limited real right. Mortgage will give you limited real right. Registered lease will give you limited real right. Okay, now let's move on. Now, when we have understood this one, it means now we are moving on. Now, we start with the example. Example is that if Lara loaned Jabu 100,000, right? According to the pledge requirement, this is a personal right because these two people have only what we call the agreement. So it is a personal right which involves the debtor and creditor. Now, if we move on, we say that Jabu deliver a diamond as a security for the debt Lara loaned Jabu with 10,000 rand. This is just an agreement, so it's personal right. Then Jabu delivers a diamond as a security for the debt. Now, when he delivered the diamond as a security for the debt, it means that Lara has limited real right against Jabu, and the object is diamond, meaning yes, the object is diamond. Meaning, if Jabu failed to pay 100,000, then it means that Lara will have a preferential claim. So this limited real right create what we call the preferential claim. Meaning, instead of going to declare Jabu insolvent, the person will have a preferential claim to claim directly from Jabu by just approaching the court to sell the diamond, and then he got the money back. So that is the big thing. Instead of declaring Jabu insolvent based on the Insolvency Act, the person will just have a preferential claim. Now, when these all are available, we said that there is a pledge. There is a pledge. Now, we can see all the requirements available, so we can say that it's a pledge. Now, it's the same thing with the servitude. Let's just say that Lara granted Jabu right of a way. The servitude is not registered. When the servitude is not registered, it means that it's a personal right. It's more of a debtor and creditor agreement. So it's a creditor's right. It's a personal right. Now, Lara register the servitude. When Lara registered the servitude, it means that Jabu now has limited real right against Lara. And the object is or we didn't provide it. And the object is a right. So Jabu will have a limited real right against Lara, and the object is a right of a way that Lara granted to Jabu. Right. Now I'm telling you all this so that you can see the differences. Now we are moving forward. We come to the mortgage. Mortgage is still the same. It has to be registered. So we will not talk much about here. It's the same. So any mortgage will say that bank loaned Lara 2 million. The farm, or let's just say Lara's farm has been registered in favor of the bank. Now, this means that the bank has limited real right against Lara, and the object is farm. I hope you are getting it. Now, if you understood this one, it means that we're talking about pledge, servitude, and mortgage in terms of the right. Now, we go back to the issue of the right and personal right. Right. Now, um, we are finishing it, this one, with uh, lease. Now, when we come to the lease, we know that Lara and Jawu signed a 7-year lease agreement. Now, in this one, it means that Jabu has personal right against Lara, and the object is Lara's property. Now, that makes sense. Now, we're gonna take this same scenario again. We're gonna say in this scenario, we're gonna take it and then we're gonna copy it and then we're gonna paste this scenario again. Paste. Now, Jabu has a personal right against Lara, and the object is Lara's property. Now, Lara sell the property to David. It means that in this way, Jabu has limited real right Now, Jabu has the limited real right. Why limited real right? Because of the common law principle of is override C. Now, we have talked about all those rights. We have showed all those rights. Now you know about all those rights. Now we are moving forward. If you have learned about this one, you are moving now forward. Now, when we move forward, we come down to talk about the real relationships. It's very crucial that we talk about the real relationships. And I said that in the real relationships, we have a holder and possessor. Now, let's start with possessor first. Um, let's start with possessor. Possessor is determined by the mentor animals reign. Now, when we look at it here, we have a bona fide possessor, and then we have mala fide possessor. Now, when we look at this, we will start with bona fide possessor. In the bona fide possessor, the person think is the owner, whereas it's not. So we'll say Lara built his house and extended his garage. Unfortunately, his garage went over Jabu property. Therefore, it means in this one, we can say Lara, because he was not aware, Lara is bona fide possessor, because the person think is the owner, whereas it's not. Now, when we let's just say let's just say, unfortunately, her garage went over Jawu's property. Lara is the bona fide possessor. Now, we look at this one. Let's just say, unfortunately, her garage extend his garage. Unfortunately, her garage went over Jawu's property. Now, Lara now, unfortunately, her garage went over Jawu's property as she planned. Now, here there's a word planned, meaning that she has planned that she wants to take the property of Jabu. Therefore, she knows that she's not the owner, but she occupied. Therefore, the person will be malafide possessor. Why? Because she knows she is not the owner. Okay. Now, here, if we have to give, is because she think she owns. It's different. Now, we go to the holder. Now, on the holder, we have a bona fide, we have a lawful holder, and bona fide. Lawful holder. Sorry, I've taken up the medication, making me sleepy. Malafide and lawful holder. Now, here, let's just say Lara. Let's just copy the scenario that we have said. We will just copy it this one and use it in the real, so that we won't waste time. So Jawu has a personal right, and another thing is that Jawu is a lawful holder. Why? Because he is given permission. Right. Now, we come to the issue of bona fide and lawful holder. We'll take the same scenario and then we copy. Then we'll just quickly do this. still effective. It means that Jabu is bona fide lawful holder. Okay. We take the same scenario and then we put it. Now in this here, let's put here. Lease has expired. It means that the person now will change to be malafide and lawful holder. Now we have looked at these holders thing, all of them from the first. Now we are moving on. Now we move on. Now we talk about the ownership. In the ownership, we have number one, which allows that the ownership is the compressive real right which you have you places. Sorry. Now, however, even though you are doing as you pleases, you must remember that there's nothing without a limitation. So there is a limitation. Number one, it will be neighbor law. Because according to the principle of neighbor, you must be reasonable, you must behave towards your neighbor. They say that you must be reasonable towards your neighbor. Now, we've already talked about the first one, which is the neighbor law. Second one, it can be personal right. Those are others that will ensure that will limit the right of the owner. Okay. Um, we have talked about it now. Before we move on, no, that one will have to move tomorrow for that one. Don't want to make thing longer. It should be